right, y'all. Excuse me. I think we're live. Just trying to pull it up on my laptop real quick. Sorry, y'all getting a close-up of the face there. I am ready to paint our craft kit of the month. For some reason, though, I'm not getting the video here. But whether you're watching the live or the replay, go ahead and grab out your stuff from the craft kit of the month, your shamrock, your paint, all that stuff. Oh yeah, here we are. I got it. Oh, excuse me. I'm going to be a little sniffly today. Part of the reason I'm running late is because I was kind of under the weather yesterday. And so today just kind of snuck up on me, one of those like forget what day it is kind of thing. So I was like, oh shoot, we're painting live at 11. So let me grab myself some Kleenex and a coffee, and I'm going to get my craft kit of the month ready to go. So grab yours out. This was something I was painting the other day when I did a live paint, one of our Easter crate sets. But we'll grab out our craft kit of the month shamrock in just a second. All right. Got my coffee. Got some Kleenex in case I need it. I'm gonna move my Easter set. I started painting this in a video the other day. So there's a video up where I painted these. And then this afternoon I was gonna finish painting these. So I have some pictures of it all completed. But that's our Easter crate decor set. It's adorable. So make sure you've got an old t-shirt on, or in my case, a fabulous paint apron, because I cannot help but wipe my hands on my apron. All right. So you got your craft kit of the month here. This is what you should have gotten in your box when you have opened it now. You got ribbon, some foam brushes, some little foam sponges, paint, of course, Feeling Lucky, some jute to tie it up at the end, a pipe cleaner for the ribbon. Oh, I didn't bring a glue pouch or the glue, so I will have to grab that, but I'll get that when we get to the glue part. I mean, the only thing we have to glue on is the Feeling Lucky, so it's not like a lot of gluing that has to happen. You also got a small paintbrush similar to this one that I'll be using. It's just to help us get the edges if we want to, if you wanted something with a little more detail. So, welcome to our craft kit of the month paint. Excuse all my mess here. I got all these paints for my little fun little paint sessions here when I'm painting things, and now they're kind of all over the place. There we go. I always bring more in when I need it, and then I never seem to take them out. So, all right. Let's adjust here a little bit. All right, we're going to set our jute, our pipe cleaner, our ribbon to the side because we are not going to be using that for a minute. I'm also going to take my Feeling Lucky words and my sponges and set them over here. I'm not going to use those for a minute. We are going to start with painting the outside gold. Now the back of yours has been painted white. Mine obviously hasn't. But that's just so that the back is sealed. It's an exterior house paint, so it just gives you a nice, good starting point so you don't have to worry about painting the back. But I always love the back of my door hangers painted. It's good coffee. All right, so like I said, the back of yours is painted white. That's the only difference. So you should have gotten 2 pouches of gold. This are just in case, you know, because the gold sometimes needs a few more, get the laptop out of the way, so I don't end up with paint on it again, because that has most certainly happened. Oh, you will need a cup of water to put your brushes in if you want to reuse them. This is from my paint day the other day. Don't tell anybody I haven't washed my brushes out yet. Whoops. Such a bad example. All right, so I'm gonna open my gold paint here, squeeze some out, paper plate or whatever you have to squeeze some paint onto. All right, so we're painting the outer ring here gold. Then we'll come back and paint the shamrock green. So hopefully you see as it's going on, it does have a nice little sparkle, but it's definitely going to take us 2 or 3 coats. But metallics are just that way, and they're worth it. But I don't want to use metallics all the time for that reason, because it gets a little annoying to continually have to put on 3 coats. I mean, that's just like white paint, right? So much of the time white paint takes a whole bunch of extra coats. So when we do the green, I'm going to have the green curve out, like the leaf is going over this gold frame, right? So you don't have to worry too much about, because the gold, hi Pete. Pete says hello. Because the green's going to come out and cover a little bit of that gold there. So if you're watching now or on the replay, thank you for joining me in the craft kit of the month. This was one of my visions well over a year ago, because we've been doing the craft kit of the month now for like 1.5 years. Maybe a little longer than that. So I'm approaching the 2-year mark. And I'm still working on growing it as big as I would like to grow it. Still a work in progress, but for all of y'all joining me now and have joined me for months and months, I appreciate it and I love it. I hope you love it too. My purpose genuinely is to provide a service, like knowing that as many times, because I like providing DIY stuff, because I love my DIYers, but as many times as my ambitious DIYers would tell me, oh, I bought that, but I haven't painted it yet, right? And I know that's not all of you, because some of you, like, once you get it, I mean, I see the pictures, y'all get it, you go home, you get all the supplies, you submit a picture the next day, you're like, I'm done, I painted it, and I love that, right? But some people will have stuff for a while before they actually get it painted, and that's where this craft kit of the month was kind of like my plan to help those awesome DIYers who have the best intentions but don't always get things finished because life just gets in the way. So this way, you don't even have to make a shopping list to go get this or that, or, you know, it's all in the box. You just open the box and craft. And that is the best part of the craft kit of the month for me. So, and that service that I feel like I'm providing really is like just an hour and a half to just sit down and craft. Whether you do it alone, whether you do it with a friend, whether you do it with a big group of people, totally up to you, right? It's whatever you need. But I just think the older I get, the value in being able to mentally check out from a lot of other things in your life, it gets harder and harder to do. And this does it for me, right? Like just sitting down and painting does it. It allows me to like not think about anything else and just concentrate on painting. And when I'm done, it's just like having taken a really deep sigh. It's just like, relaxed, right? So, let's see what Petey Pete's getting into over there. What'd you do in bed? Bed dog stuff? Yeah, probably. Look at me with those sweet eyes. Of course not. Of course I'm not getting into something I'm not supposed to. My craft room here is, the door's usually closed. Yeah, that's plastic. You can't eat plastic. The door's usually closed, so it's like a novelty right now that the door is open and that he can come in here and sniff all the things. The metallic does dry really fast. If you notice, I didn't even say it. Like, I just went right on and started the second coat. The second coat, I'm going a little heavier than I did on my first. So I'm probably going to take some time and let this dry before I do the third and hopefully final coat. But the metallics do dry pretty quickly, which is nice. All right, so the second coat looks pretty good, but I definitely think I'm going to need a third coat. But what I'm going to do is take a minute and do the outside edge in gold. You might have a little white on yours from where we roll painted the backs. So I'm going to keep using this brush. If you're uncomfortable using this brush, you can always grab out your smaller little brush you got. But I think this one is fine. Sorry for all the sniffling. All right. So I'm just going to get it on the tip of the brush, and then I'm going to go around the edge like this here. I will probably end up just doing one coat unless I find that there's, you know, a reason. I take a look at it and I decide, okay, maybe I want another coat. But this is just to give the edges a hint of gold. So if people look at it from the edge, they don't immediately notice that the edge doesn't match. Plus, if you're going to hang it outdoors, you definitely do want to make sure you paint all the surfaces that help seal it so it doesn't get as much moisture in there. And then additionally, when you spray that clear coat, I mean, the clear coat's going to get on the edges as well. Be paying attention to the top here, because sometimes when you paint the edges, it smooshes over. So you need to do an extra kind of brush stroke to smooth that out. All right, I got all the edges there. If you want to go ahead and paint your interior edges here gold, you can go ahead and do that. Now with this fat brush here, you're going to want to be careful. Actually, it's not going to fit in the corners as well. So if you want to come back and get those, it's also one of those things you don't have to come back and get it. Nobody's going to look down in the little tiny corners to see if you got paint there. But I know for some people, they want to make sure they get paint everywhere they're supposed to. So I'm just painting these little edges here. And then, like I said, if you want to switch brushes now, that's why you got the small brush, was so that you could get in some of those edges. So if you want to switch to the small brush I sent you, you are more than welcome to. That's why I sent it to you. It'll be more important, that small brush, when we get to the green. Because then once the gold's already done, we're going to want to be very careful when we do the green edges to not accidentally get green on the parts that are already painted gold, right? So we're going to have to be a little more careful, and so then it will matter. Whereas right now, if we get a little gold on these parts over here that we're going to paint green, not a big deal. Close the door real quick while they're out there barking. Might be my husband coming back home. I forgot to tell him I was doing a live paint this morning before he left. So he may come in wondering what's going on. Alright, I think I got all the inside edges. Yep, got them all. All right, everything else is going to be painted green, so we can worry about those edges when we get to the green paint. I think at this point, I could probably go ahead and put on my third coat. And it's still a little tacky. Let's wait, just to make sure we don't mess anything up. And I think I'm going to go ahead and go with my first coat of green here. So let's open up our green, and you're going to use your other wood-handled foam brush. This green is appropriately named Shamrock Green. So no questions about which paint color we needed to get. All of my paints, as usual, are Anita's acrylic craft paint. Even the gold is Anita's metallic. I think it's just called pure gold. Not this one. This one's bronze. But this is what the gold would look like, right? It says metallic, Anita's metallic. And then, like I said, I think it's just called pure gold. In the craft kit of the month, you always get a little DIY instruction sheet in case you start to paint it yourself, or you haven't watched the video. And at the bottom of the DIY instruction sheet, I always include the paint colors. So if you're ever wondering what paint color we have used in the pouches, check there. All right, so for this time, I'm not going to do our curve, right? Because I know I'm going to put another coat on the gold. So I'm just going to get the green close to the gold, and then we'll come back and kind of do our finishing touches on that later. This green covers well. So sorry for all the sniffling, guys. You know, I just kind of got like just a little bit of sick, you know, just like a slight little cold. So I kind of laid out yesterday, didn't really do too much work, just some stuff I could do on my laptop. And I feel practically 100% today, just except for the snifflies now. Get out a little more green paint. I hope you all had a fabulous Valentine's Day yesterday, no matter what that looked like for you. With a partner or a girlfriend or kids or however you are celebrating, or not at all because you are opposed. I know a few people like that. Then I hope it was a good Tuesday. So my plan, and if you look at like the painted picture of the shamrock of our Feeling Lucky door hanger, is I'm going to come with a brush and I'm just going to make this curve out, right? So it looks like, you know, the leaves naturally would be curving out like that. So I will come back and do that once we are done with our gold. This I am keeping as a straight line. All right, looks like we have a good first coat of the green done. I would like to go ahead and do my third coat on the gold so that it has enough time to dry so that I have time to do the additions to the shamrock there that's going to kind of go over the gold. So I'm going to go ahead and third coat my gold here. Hopefully you can see when you do the third coat how much better it looks. Looks like I will probably not even have to get into my second pouch of gold. So you may have an extra pouch of gold for yourself, you know, for whatever other craft projects you have. My dogs are playing together outside the door. Oh, my finger slipped there. Let's touch that up. You know what I've got to get myself for the craft room, and I keep saying it and have not done it yet. I need it for my paint booth too. I need to get one of those lazy Susans, right? That just like sits under here, so it makes it much easier to spin things around. Because I will definitely use it. I am always moving my pieces around so I can get to the other side better. So I just need to get one of those, like, just the lazy Susan contraption, right? Not like, I don't want like a pretty one, right? That would sit on a table or whatever. I'm sure y'all can hear my two bigger dogs playing outside the hallway. That would be Pete and Jeff. Yeah, so if any of y'all have one of those little lazy Susan contraptions for your craft room, you've got a link for me on one that you got, I would love it. Share, please. I know I just need to go on Amazon and look. But I need to get one for our paint booth too, so we're not having to physically pick things up and move them around to when we spray things in the paint booth. All right, I think I'm pretty happy with this third coat. Let me see a little spot over here I'd like to make a little thicker. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm gonna not stick this in water just yet, just to make sure, because I know myself, sometimes I'm like, think I'm done, and then I catch a spot in the light, and I'm like, oh, okay, I need to touch that up. So I'm gonna not put that in the water just yet. But it definitely looks like you should have a gold pouch left over. Good to know. I am making sure to give you enough. All right, we're gonna do our second coat of green. Second coat's not gonna take near as much as the first. And I know Wednesday at 11 a.m. is like a somewhat awkward time for a live paint. I can't ever figure out the best time for these things. But for myself, I did it so that, I mean, obviously you can watch the replay anytime. But instead of being an evening, it doesn't take up one of my evenings doing this. Since I had like a few other plans during the week, I've started doing a dance fitness class with my girlfriend that has been a blast, and it's 2 nights a week. Plus my mom comes over at least 1 night a week, and we do Taco Tuesday with my parents. Most every week. We always get together with them at least 1 dinner a week. So, you know, your evenings start to get filled up. I know some of y'all still have kids at home, so your evenings get filled up with things my evenings used to be filled up, like fighting over homework and or just helping with homework and projects and sports practices and games and all that comes with having kids. My two are grown now and living on their own. So I don't have those same kind of responsibilities in the evenings that I used to. Back when I was a teacher, I used to spend a lot of time in the evenings grading. I was a high school math teacher. And there's just so much grading that goes on with teaching high school math. And I wanted, like, I wanted to give kids good feedback, you know, and like, I thought that like quality grading was a very important part of the learning process. But that just meant it took a lot of time. you know, especially with class sizes getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, I had a class one time, it was 33 students. It was an AP Calc BC class. So it's not like they were pretty good kids, but it's like, it's crazy difficult content. It's like Calculus 2 in college, right? Teaching you in high school. Oh, that was my husband. Let me message him real quick on Facebook Messenger. That should work. Keith? Keith? Yeah, he's in the house. Why did he just call me? Y'all. I guess I don't need to message him. Who does? I'm sure he can hear me back here. But anyways, so a lot of my evenings were filled with grading, which also was complicated with juggling 2 boys in the house, right? And trying to do everything we need to do with them. So that was definitely one of the hard parts about teaching, was this constant pull to like want to do like meaningful assignments with like quality feedback. Because an AP class is hard and students need to get a really good sense of how they're doing and do they actually understand the content, you know? But then at the same time, not wanting to commit myself to having to spend so much time grading and doing all of that. So it was definitely a balancing act. And it was one of the struggles that made teaching very stressful, is wanting to be the best teacher I could be, but then feeling the pull that like, that requires so much of my personal time to be that teacher. But I do miss the students, and like a true nerd, I miss the math too. I have nephews that are in high school now that will message me math questions, and so I like getting to help them on that. I've even thought about tutoring again, which I used to do on the side a lot when I was teaching. Just because I really, like I said, I miss the students and I miss the math, and tutoring would like scratch both of those itches, right? But it wouldn't be grading, it wouldn't be administration, it wouldn't be, you know, some of the other things that made teaching stressful. All right, I'm good with that second coat. It should dry well. Right now it looks patchy because, you know, some of it's wet, some of it's dry. But I'm gonna take this time and I'm gonna give my gold a double check, like make sure I'm comfortable with that. Or if I wanna touch up and add anywhere, now would be the time. Which is why I left my gold brush out, thinking I might wanna do more. And I know myself. Of course, I will find some spot that I'm like, oh yes, that needs a little more. Yeah, so we'll see if I decide to get back out there and just do a little bit of tutoring. You know, I'm not advertised for any tutoring up here where I live now. So back where I used to live, you know, I've had, you know, former students and stuff, like tutoring students that could give recommendations, but I have not tutored since I moved to Cartersville. All right, that looks good. All right, I'm gonna put this brush in the water. There we go. Now I think while we're letting the gold and the green dry a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead and paint the Feeling Lucky white. So I'm gonna move this out of the way. And you've got your little sponges. These are great for this. I'm leaving my green brush out because we're still going to use that. Let's open just a little hole there because we don't need a lot of white. I'm going to go fat end on this one because these words are a little bit fatter than some. So I'm using the fat end of my sponge. I'm just getting some paint on about half of it. And then I'm just dabbing it on. This is how I keep it from going over the edges too much. Is just by dabbing it on like this. It is getting closer and closer to spring show season for me. For those of y'all who don't know, I don't typically do any shows after the first week of December, all the way up to like usually the last week of March is my first show. One, there's just not a ton of shows then, craft shows and things like that. So there's not a lot of options unless I wanted to travel farther. Excuse me. If I wanted to do shows in January and February, it's actually Florida and mostly like Central and South Florida are known for huge craft shows at those times of the year. But that's such a long haul. I really don't like driving more than like 4 hours, and sometimes I even go over that. But I really like prefer to keep it at 4 hours or less, which from Cartersville, Georgia, I cannot get to Central or South Florida in 4 hours or less. So I think one year I'm gonna go for some Florida shows, and I might even make it like 1 year. I think I would love to try it where I go for shows that are back-to-back weekends, so that, you know, I fill the trailer up and I've got as much product as I can. And I just go down for one weekend for the first show. We stay in Florida for the week, and then we do the second show the next weekend. But that did not happen this year. But I've said that for a while now, that I think I'd like to try that sometime. So the shows that are at least, you know, in this part of the country don't really ramp up again until late March, and then April and May, definitely. So my first show is just a small little one-day one here in Cartersville. I've done it for years. It's not a huge show, but plenty of local customers. If y'all are local, you may have come before. I'll give away tickets on the page for it. It's called the Northwest Georgia Women's Expo. And it's a show a little different than any other one that I do, because it's got all sorts of, like, it's not just shopping, craft, retail, anything like that. It's just, it's all things for women. So there's stuff about like self-defense things for women, self-defense products, and then craft things, obviously, retail sort of stuff, you know, jewelry, purses, stuff like that. But then also like a lot of services too. So women's health, like specific women's health clinics will show up and have a booth there, and they'll do screenings and things like that. And then some of the local colleges will have a booth just talking about different like certification degrees you can get. And so it's obviously like just, it's something that's just geared towards Northwest Georgia women and all the stuff available to you health-wise, career-wise, but also the retail and crafts and shopping and stuff too. And it's just really awesome. So if you look up Northwest Georgia Women's Expo, you will find the Facebook page for it. Because I did this paint so thin, it's ready for the next coat. I'd prefer to do 3 thin coats instead of like trying to do thicker ones. But that'll be my first show. It's the last weekend in March. And then I move on to the next show after that. And this is where I make an exception for my 4-hour driving rule. It is in Summerville, South Carolina, which is just like a half hour outside of Charleston. Somerville, South Carolina itself is a beautiful town. I love going just to visit there. But it's called the Flower Town Festival. So if you need a reason to get out of town, look up the Flower Town Festival. It's about a 5-hour drive. I mean, by the time I have a trailer and I'm having to make stops and all that, it's going to take me longer. Flower Town Festival is huge. It's a big outdoor park right in downtown Somerville. But you could make a weekend out of it and be in Somerville for the festival one day and then go into Charleston another day. But the show itself is actually Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I don't have the dates off the top of my head. It's maybe like March 31st and then the 1st and 2nd of April, something like that. But if you look at Flower Town Festival, it's put on by the Somerville YMCA. It's like one of the biggest festivals in the South. So of course there's all sorts of food and there's a kids area, but just mostly it's all awesome crafters and vendors. And there's really very little of that like retail type vendor, resale vendor, like where they just bought stuff and they're just reselling it. Like it's mostly all people like me, right? Because there's a pretty stringent process to get into the show, to show that like you make your products. So some people always sneak in, but it's pretty awesome to go and see just so many people that all make their own products. And it's just a huge show. It usually rains at some point during the 3 days, but it never lasts too long, because you're not far from the coast there. So it's like you get rain for a little while, then it goes away and dries up and we're all fine. And then I've also got, what other shows am I doing? Oh, Vintage Market Days in, it's called Vintage Market Days Chattanooga. It's actually in Chickamauga, Georgia, which is just outside of Chattanooga. But if you're looking it up online, you would look up Vintage Market Days Chattanooga because it's promoted as a Chattanooga event since that's the nearest really big city. So I am doing Vintage Market Days in Chickamauga, or Vintage Market Days Chattanooga, I should say. And now that one, Chickamauga, was close enough of a drive. It's maybe about like an hour and 15 minutes from my house. So I'm just gonna go back and forth on the days for that one. I don't have to get a hotel for that. And then I'm doing Vintage Market Days in Perry, which I've done before. Although when I did it before, I did the show that's in August, but she also has an April show. So I'll be doing that one this year. And that one's great. I love my Perry people. I have a lot of people that'll be repeat customers because they maybe saw me at Perry Dogwood Festival, or they drove down to Calico Arts and Crafts shows in Moultrie and they saw me there. So I like to get to see, I like to go down to that part of the state so I get to see some of the repeat customers. So I'll be doing that one as well. That might be it. I might be forgetting one. Oh yeah, Rose Lawn May Market in Cartersville. So those are my end of March through May. Oh, and Geranium Festival in McDonough, that's in May too. So it'll be a busy couple of months there, but it's always fun getting back into show season. All right, I'm trying to decide if I want another coat of paint. Oh, I'm squeezing out the white everywhere. What do we think? Another coat of paint or not? I don't know. I really want the white to pop against the green. So normally I'm totally happy with it not being like totally opaque. Like you can see the wood grain a little. But I think this time I'm just going to go for a third coat and just make it so that it's very solidly white. These are so quick to paint though. It's not a big deal to do another coat, especially with these little sponges. I just love them. Makes it so easy. I prefer these to a brush. Like, I know some people like using a brush. Well, these are skinny brushes, but if you have bigger brushes and brushing it, but I feel like this is faster and easier. So I do really love these little sponges. I hope you do too. That's why I include them. You know, and first when I was just like researching what products to use, right, when I make the craft kit of the month, trying to see what prices of brushes and things, and I came across somebody recommending these, and I thought, well, I might have to go with that just because it's cost saving, right? They're a little bit cheaper than giving you 3 brushes, giving you 3 sponges, you know. But then I tried them and I was like, oh, well, this is a win because I can buy them in bulk and get a better deal, and I love them. I think they're great. I think they're the easiest way to do small pieces now. Well, I'm lying. Truly the easiest way to do small pieces is spray paint, because you're done in a second, right? But when you're doing a kitchen table craft, which is what I intend this one to be, you don't really want to have to walk outside and spray paint stuff. So this is more fun. All right. Touch up the spots where I was holding it and I touched on the edge there. All right, I think I am happy with how my Feeling Lucky looks. Let's grab our shamrock back out. Oh, well, bad news. My gold is not dry yet. I need to dry it so I can do the little extend the green here. Not that you have to. I mean, it looks cute like this, right? I mean, it's just a personal preference that I like it to curve out. And I could have done that first so I don't have to go over the gold, but I didn't. Alas, I did it this way. So I'm gonna go put this in front of the heater for a second and let it dry, and we will make our bow. So if you want to grab out your ribbon, then I will make the bow with you. Walking against it. Okay, normally I have the heater set up in here so I could just, you can also get out a hair dryer, that works too if you're trying to speed up drying. I could have grabbed the hair dryer, but I have a little space heater out in the family room, so I just stuck it in front of that for a minute. So now we're gonna work on our ribbon. You actually should have gotten 2 pieces. This one did not get cut. Well, let me grab my scissors. Okay. So you actually got 2 pieces of ribbon. One is shorter than the other. These are going to be the tails. So I'm going to fold the ends in half. This is just to cut a V, so the ends are cute. Let me zoom in a little bit here. Well, that didn't work. All right, so I've just got it folded in half, and from where the wires are, right on the outside of the ribbon, I'm just going to cut in so that when you fold it out, there you go. All right, so I'm going to fold my ends together. From the wire, the outside here, right, I'm going to cut into the ribbon. There we go. So I've got 2 nice ends of the ribbon there, and then I'm going to set that aside for later. All right, now with your longer piece of ribbon, you're going to start by making a single loop. All right, this is going to be the center of your bow, so it does not have to be real big. All right, so I'm just going to make a loop and then pinch it together. If you are right-handed, I hold it in my right hand. If you're left-handed, hold it in your left hand. But that's all I've done is just pinched it together. All right, so holding that, you're going to twist. All right, so we are going to twist the ribbon and kind of shove that twist back into where you were pinching, right? So you're still pinching, but now you've got the pretty side of the ribbon facing out. That's why we're twisting. So this is going to create a loop, right? Put that pinch right there in the middle. So there's the loop for the side of your ribbon. Right, so we've got half our bow. So you're gonna twist again. So twist. It's all wired ribbon, so you can mush it around, right? It's pretty malleable. All right, then create another loop. This ribbon is a little bit longer, I think, than what you got. So yours should be, not have all this extra. It should be pretty close to being done because that's what we're creating. All right, so you've got it all pinched in here in the middle. Grab your pipe cleaner, and your pipe cleaner goes through the middle loop, halfway, right? Hold where the pinch was and flip it over. And I pull the pipe cleaner tight and twist it, right? If you have excess ribbon, go ahead and cut it off fairly close to where the pipe cleaner is, right? So you've got this nice looking little bow here. It's wired, so you can make it look cute, right? Fluff it up. Now take your tails in the middle, so halfway, right? You're pinching here so that they'll hang down. And then flip over your bow, stick it in the middle here, and wrap the pipe cleaner up through the middle of the tails. And push it down, try to get it tight, kind of like you're tying a shoe, right? Like you're trying to get it tight. Pull the pipe cleaners and twist them again, right? So I'm just twisting them to hold it in place. And here is your bow. And it's wired, so you pull it around here, you pull it down there, you do what you need to do to make it look cute, but there is your bow. See? Not so bad. This one is a single loop bow because it just got one loop on either side. You can do the exact same process. If you have your own ribbon and wanted to make a double loop bow, it just requires more twisting and looping. It gets a little harder to hold on to if you're not used to doing it, right? Your fingers get tired like holding the pinch here. But a single loop bow is not too bad to do. I like this style because I really like the loop in the middle. You can do it without that and just do a simple loop, tie it in the middle, and be done with it. But I just like the loop in the middle. All right, let me go grab our shamrock and see if it's dry enough now. All right, we are good. So I'm going to do the last steps here because I wanted to add some curve. This green looks great. It dries so well. Just get a little more green out. And of course get some on my fingers because you don't end up with paint all over your fingers. Did you really even craft? Am I right? If it's not all over your fingers, did you really even craft? All right, I'm gonna move my feeling lucky. And I'm just going to gently do a curve here. All right, so always my kind of first swipe when I'm trying to do a smooth line like that, I go not as far as I intend to go, right? So that I can go a little bit further and be comfortable, but just to give you an up close look, right? So that's all I've done is just give it a little bit of curve so that it goes out onto the gold frame a little bit. I'm gonna do the same thing here. You don't want to cough while you're trying to do a nice smooth line. And I've loaded my brush up with paint, like it's got a good bit of paint because the idea is I don't have to second coat these parts. Well, shoot, I got that one right the first time. Look at that. All right, so it's subtle, right? But I just like this look here. All right. Okay, so now you can kind of get a sense for what I was doing, right? I just wanted to smooth out the curves here, not make it such a straight line there, right? So I just wanted to give it a little curve, and I just like that finish looked better. Totally up to you. Okay, I'm not gonna do this on the live paint because it's easy and it takes a little bit of time though, so no reason for you to watch me do it. But if you want to, this is why you got the little brush. You're gonna put it in your green paint and you can paint the edges green. It won't take, you know, crazy long time because this green is a good thick paint. I would just do it with one coat. And also, you don't have to do it at all. It's your door hanger, so it's totally up to you if you think anybody's even gonna notice if the edges aren't painted green, right? But so that's what I've done here is I've just gone in with a little brush and I've painted this edge here green. And you can do that for all the little shamrock edges. So that's why you've got that extra little paintbrush. If you want to do that, use your green to touch up around the edges. And then, like I said at the beginning, I realized I left my paint out in the workshop. So instead of making you wait on me, I mean, gluing stuff down here is the easy part. What I would recommend you do is lay it on here, assuming your green is dry, stand above it, and get real comfortable with where you think you want it to hang, right? So I'm gonna have my jute to hang it right here at the middle. So I'm gonna have this a little bit off to the left, right? So that's the top middle for me, the way I like it. Some people might want it like this, right? And have that be the top middle. So I'm gonna get that lined up. And then, now that I'm looking down on it, I can make sure I've got my Feeling Lucky lined up. You can move it up if you want to, so that the feeling is a little bit like over the edge of the shamrock. That works. The one in the picture, the one I made for this month to advertise it, had the Feeling Lucky right there, kind of in just the center of these two leaves of the shamrock. So that's where I'm going to put mine. Also, that leaves me room for our bow. You've got the pipe cleaner here. You're just going to wrap around the outside. I'm going to put mine here, right? That green's still a little bit wet, so I'm just trying to be careful. But I'm going to put mine here. I am a huge fan, if y'all see my stuff, of not putting the bow right at the top, but you totally can. That looks cute. This might even change my mind, right? Like every now and then there's one that I'm like, oh, I really like the bow at the top. But I'm almost always going to put the bow a little bit offset. And then you've got your jute. This is just a piece of jute, so you can tie a knot and have a little loop around the top. But additionally, depending on the size of your command hook, I forgot I hadn't glued those on. Y'all know me well enough to know what a hot mess I am, right? So depending on the size of the command hook you have on your door, or however you hang things on your door, it might fit right here, right? My command hook is like real fat, so it wouldn't fit through. So that's why I included the jute for you to tie up here. So get the little stuff off of it since I dumped it on the ground. So you will be all done just as soon as you glue your words on, which I am going to do here in a second, just as soon as I go grab my glue out of the workshop. But this is what our final product is going to look like. Yay, I love it. And you've got a different ribbon depending on what we had in stock, but all of it should be cute. I hope y'all love it too. Just a fun little St. Patrick's Day. Go ahead and put it up now because Valentine's Day is over. So you've got a few weeks, a month, yeah, till St. Patty's Day. And your door will be looking cute till then, or your porch, or wherever you're gonna hang it. But that's it. That's our craft kit of the month for this month. Stay tuned. In just a few more days, I'm going to release the next craft kit of the month. So if you loved this one, join me for the next one. I will tell you the next one is going to be a door hanger again. I don't normally do 2 door hangers back to back, but I'm going to this time, and it is, but it's going to be a generic one. So it's going to be you could use it all year round. You can use it in between seasonal ones. Make a fabulous gift if you have like a housewarming, wedding gift, that sort of thing. If you're needing a gift for somebody, it makes a fabulous gift because it's like non-seasonal, generic. Everybody will love it. It's beautiful. Yeah, because if you've done the craft kit of the month for a while, I haven't done a non-seasonal door hanger with the craft kit of the month since over a year ago when I did a welcome y'all. Was that a year ago? Oh yeah, maybe it was longer than that. Anyways, I did a welcome y'all door hanger. But since then, anything else has been decor or seasonal decor or seasonal door hangers. So I thought it was time to throw out another non-seasonal one. So we're going to do a cute non-seasonal one. Stay tuned. In less than a week, I will be posting that. Orders open for the craft kit of the month on the 20th, and they're open through the 1st of March. And then it'll ship out the following week or pick up the following week. So if you loved this, I hope you will join us for the next one. It will be just as fun. And it'll be great to go up after St. Patty's Day if you don't have a spring one. If you want to use the, kind of non-seasonal one until you're ready for summer, because I've got some cute summer ones. So anyways, that's the plan. So finish up your door hanger, glue it on, paint the edges green if you want. Get it hung, take a picture, send a picture, post it in the DIY Divas group. I would love to see it. So thank y'all for joining me for the craft kit of the month. And I hope to see y'all next month. Have a great day. Bye.